to Dr. Chapotin.
Thank you, Brady. I do have some slides. Thank you. So again, thanks so much for inviting us to be here, and a special thanks to BIFAD for essentially kicking off what is going to be a discussion over the next few months about new priority research areas within sustainable intensification and integrated pest management. I also want to thank, we have two directors of the innovation labs here, Muni Muniappan and Adrian Aris, directors of the IPM and the Sustainable Agricultural and Natural Resources Management Innovation Lab. We also have a member of the external evaluation team, Jim Litzinger. Thanks for joining us today. I have a lot of slides. I won't try to cover everything on them. I figured they could be a good resource for people who'd like to see more details about what both Julie and I have spoken about. I'll skip these since they've been covered. And just briefly run through, as Julie said, we've organized ourselves under the Food Security Innovation Center in 7 program areas. The first on climate resilient cereals, recognizing the importance of cereal systems to so many smallholder farmers, understanding, of course, that farmers do a lot more than grow and eat cereals, but if we can improve the resilience, the drought tolerance, the heat tolerance of these cereal crops, we give them opportunities to make other investments and to free up resources. So we have a very extensive research program in this area that taps into both private sector and academic researchers. Legume productivity is a very important area for us, recognizing the importance of these crops both to household nutrition, to sustainable agriculture, and also to income earning opportunities for farmers. So again, investing very broadly in the range of technologies that can improve legume productivity globally. Again, we have many university partners, including 2 innovation labs that work in this area with us, the grain legumes and the peanut and mycotoxins innovation lab. We have a program on advanced approaches to combat pests and diseases in both animals and plants, recognizing the advantages that the U.S. university and the private research community in the United States bring to this, exceptional skills in using genomic and biotechnology tools, for example, to address animal and plant diseases and pests. A program on safe and nutritious foods. Nutrition is really one of the overarching cross-cutting themes under Feed the Future, and through our investments in agriculture, we're hoping to really have an impact on household nutrition. And so we have investments to increase the availability of and access to safe and nutritious foods, aquaculture products, livestock products, horticulture products. We have investments actually looking at nutrition itself and how you can design agriculture programs to ensure that they do have nutritional impacts at the household level. Our program on sustainable intensification we'll be speaking about mostly this morning. This is where we bring our various research streams together, the outputs of the cereals work, of the legume work, of the nutritious foods work, of our policy investments, and bring it, and we conduct research at the field level as to how we can fundamentally transform production systems in a way that makes them both more productive, not just in terms of production at the farmer level, but throughout the value chain, looking at issues like processing, post-harvest losses, market connections, for example, for farmers. So how we can make the entire system more productive, and also how we can make it more sustainable, both in terms of reducing resource use, but also in terms of institutional sustainability, in terms of ensuring that the research investments we're making and the development investments we're making will continue to be there after our USAID programs and our other donor programs are no longer there. We have a program for policy and markets research and support, recognizing, of course, that without the enabling policy environment in place, most of our agriculture investments will probably not bear fruit. And so this is, we have research programs around what are the right policies that need to be in place, what are the impacts of different kinds of policies in the countries where we work, and how can we better engage with foreign governments and their policymakers to put in place a policy environment that is supportive of agriculture. Finally, we've heard today already about USAID's interest in investments in human and institutional capacity development. This is a very cross-cutting area that we work on, looking to build capacity of individuals, students, faculty members, extension agents, and also looking to build the capacity of the institutions that support them to ensure that a professor or a student that's trained in the United States, for example, when he or she goes home, has an institution that is supportive of his or her ability to do research, to be an extension agent, to be a faculty member, to have students that are going through universities in the countries where we work that are coming out with the right skills they need to do the job. So I just referencing a little bit the research strategy that Julie mentioned, since we're talking today about how can we look forward, and perhaps I should just spend a moment talking about this. We have two innovation labs, one in sustainable agriculture and natural resources management, one on integrated pest management. They are reaching the end of their 10-year lifespan next year, and so we're looking to design new innovation labs in these areas, recognizing the importance of both of these topics for the research strategy. And I pulled this list of criteria for research investment from the Feed the Future strategy. These are the various criteria that we keep in the back of our head as we look to designing new research programs. In the Feed the Future research portfolio, integrated pest management is obviously very important. In addition to the IPM Innovation Lab, which we've heard quite a bit about this morning, we have a number of other programs that do touch on integrated pest management in their investment through investments, for example, through the World Vegetable Center. We have another innovation lab on horticulture, investments in the CGIAR system, and several other innovation labs that I mentioned. But the IPM Innovation Lab is really our signature program that focuses entirely on this topic. It's important, of course, to productivity, reducing losses to pests and diseases. It touches on food safety, fewer contaminants, for example, pesticides in the food system, and we see it as an integral part of our systems intensification work. So we have a speaker after me who will speak more to what could be research priorities in this area, and over the next few months we'll be looking to BIFAD to continue this discussion with us. We're hoping to have an online consultation at some point in the next couple months where the entire academic and other researchers, the stakeholders can weigh in and contribute ideas and thoughts about how we can go forward with a new phase of this program. We've heard a bit about this, so I'll skip this slide. And this is just sort of, again, to sort of bring out that the sustainable intensification, integrated pest management, both really fit into our systems research approach, and it covers everything from the various research areas we've talked about, bringing forward safe and nutritious foods. Of course, children, nutrition are very important, women are important in the system, and it's where really this is the program area where we're trying to really take a very comprehensive approach and bringing our diverse research streams together. We haven't heard as much yet about the Sustainable Agricultural and Natural Resources Management Innovation Lab, also led by Virginia Tech University. They have a focus on developing conservation agriculture production systems for smallholder farmers. And they're working also, it's a global program working in 13 countries and 7 regions around the world, and with 7 US universities and 34 overseas partners. And they have long-term research awards that are intended to develop these conservation agriculture production systems more broadly. So again, looking forward to a new phase of what an investment in this area could look like. I just wanted to highlight 2 ongoing programs in sustainable intensification that USAID is supporting. As Julie mentioned, our research strategy came out with 4 production systems that are really quite important in terms of potential to increase agricultural system level productivity and the ability to really have an impact on areas where we have very large numbers of poverty and very large numbers of undernourished people. So in South Asia, the breadbasket of the Indo-Gangetic Plains, we have a program called the Cereal Systems Initiative for South Asia. It's led by several CGIAR centers, and it brings together a number of these different aspects. It's bringing in new varieties, it's working on policies, improved management practices, trying to diversify the system, bringing this all together for sustainable system transformation. Africa Rising is a more recently launched program in sub-Saharan Africa, working in these 3 systems in East and Southern Africa on maize, legume, livestock systems, in the Ethiopian highlands, working on crop livestock systems, and in West Africa on cereal-based farming systems. Oh goodness, okay. So this is just a little schematic to show kind of what we mean perhaps in the African context as far as sustainable intensification. We obviously have, there's the cereal-based, in this case it would be a maize-based system. There are livestock integrated into this. There are a number of options that we can bring into this. The basket of options is there at the bottom. We have grain legumes, we have green manures, agroforestry, I can't even read my own slide, fertilizers, but there's a number of different things that you can bring into a system. So it's not just sort of a monoculture of maize, but it's a system that has multiple rotations throughout the year, perhaps intercropping with legumes and maize, for example, it has animals that have nutrient flows to the system, but also provide additional sources of income. So we're diversifying both the farm itself, but also diversifying the income opportunities and the foods that farmers are producing. And Africa Rising is essentially focused on this. It's increasing whole farm productivity, so it's an interesting research agenda in the sense that it's not just looking at the individual plots that farmers may farm, but really taking into account their entire farm and trying to increase that whole farm productivity, looking at natural resources management, looking to establish links to market and input suppliers, very important, decreasing malnutrition and poverty, especially for women and children, and building economic and environmental resilience. So looking forward to what could a new innovation lab look like in sustainable intensification, the question I have is how can we best engage the U.S. university community to complement these two efforts, which are led by CGIAR centers, so that we really have an integrated research program in sustainable intensification that is supported by USAID, that brings in the various partners, whether it's the U.S. researchers, whether it's their counterparts in developing countries, and these other programs that are already on the ground. Thank you very much.